Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. We are back to talk about some more Zenkai Dash Pack reveal cards, which you guys are probably getting at your locals this week. You guys can get your hands on these Zenkai Dash Pack cards by either buying product at your local game store or participating in local tournaments, as long as your local is able to get your hands on them. Anyways, we are talking about the cards for the Black Supreme Kai of Time deck today. This is not a leader that I thought would get much support going into this, but it's actually really good stuff. And like I've been saying, most of the Zenkai Dash Pack stuff is really good, so you guys should be excited about boosting up your older decks with this. And these cards in particular are really, really good. We'll talk about that in the video, though. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to support the channel, there are many ways to do so down in the description. But today, if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards we talk about in today's video, or any trading cards for that matter, it does greatly help me out if you were to use my link in the description to TCG Player. Anyways, let's jump right on into the cards. And first, we will, of course, talk about the strategy we are supporting here, right? So we have the Black Supreme Kai of Time leader. Let's give it a quick read because it honestly does a lot. So on the Unawakened side, Auto Burst 3 when this card attacks, draw 1. Awaken when life 4 or less, or you have 8 or more cards in your warp, you may draw 2 cards, add cards from life to hand until you have 6 life left, then flip over. Now on the Awakened side, auto once per turn. When you play a battle card using Overwhelm, draw 1 card, then place up to 3 black battle cards from your warp in your drop area. Okay, big important buff for Supreme Kai of Time here. With the ban to God Sealing Technique Trunks, this deck no longer automatically loses to blue. What would happen is you would play this against a blue deck, and if they ever God Sealing your Overwhelm, you just lose out on your leader auto because a card has to successfully be played with Overwhelm. So if your opponent would use God Sealing, then you weren't playing card with Overwhelm, and you just straight up lose up on your leader draw. You lose out on your ability to put 3 cards back into your warp. That was a really big problem. Like, this deck kind of took an automatic L to blue, which was crazy. But now that God Sealing is gone, that's not the case anymore, and that's really, really good. And there are a lot of really strong Overwhelms that don't have Deflect that are now a lot more viable, which we'll see in just a second. But anyways, the rest of the leader, activate main once per turn, pay a black, choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. If you don't have a Unison in play, play 1 black Unison with no specified cost and 9k power from your drop or warp with a marker on it. That is going to be the Demigras Unison, which basically gives the deck Wormhole. So you're dropping 2 Overwhelms per turn on most turns, which is a pretty insane form of aggression. And this next effect makes that like really consistent aggression. Here's what I mean. So activate main once per turn, place 1 card from your life in your drop, then place up to 2 black battle cards from your warp in your drop. And then battle cards you play using Overwhelm aren't sent to your warp at the end of the turn. So with Wormhole, you're playing typically 2 free battle cards via Overwhelm, and then you're using your leader effect to keep those battle cards around. They won't go away at the end of the turn via Overwhelm. That's a really powerful effect, but I think this leader hasn't really been able to see play because, again, of that kind of auto loss to blue, as well as I guess a lot of times this activate main being pretty costly at the cost of critting a life, because red has been so historically strong the past several formats, where maybe this deck kind of just got pushed out by the aggro. But I do think the blue thing was a big deal here. Like, going back to Nationals where I played Crimson Goku, I actually played against a Black Supreme Kai of Time in Swiss. I think it was round 2. And it was a tough matchup. It went to game 3. I will say God Sealing obviously put in a ton of work. I think I sealed the deal in game 3 when I was able to God Sealing a key Overwhelm, and that kind of stopped a lot of his momentum. Because keep in mind too that not only does God Sealing against the Overwhelm stop the leader draw, but it also stops the Unison from granting the deck Wormhole. So if you stop that first Overwhelm, they don't even get to do the second one with Wormhole, which is a really crazy interaction. And I guess there are still some things that can do that. Like, I don't know, if you play, I guess still in blue, if you play God Slicing Black Kamehameha, or maybe in red if you play a Denial of Hope type of card that prevents the play of a card. But those aren't free, right? Those cost energy, so you're going to come across those far less frequently. So yeah, this deck is looking a lot better just from the changes to the format in general, because it was a deck I wanted to respect already. And it also got some more recent support with the Super Saiyan Goku Xeno counter that also happens to search a good majority of your deck. So this thing has been getting support for a little while, and it's getting more support now, which is really strong. But anyways, the one card I want to talk about that also gets stronger without Godsling in the format is Fu the Dark Banisher. This is a 4-cost overrealm with triple attack, and it simply says permanent. Your opponent can't activate skills unless they choose one card in their hand and send it to their warp. So playing this thing and having it stick around via your leader's skill is going to be such an insane taxation on your opponent, right? Because the turn you play it, obviously they have to do something about the attacks coming at their face, right? So super combo, now they don't net even. Now super combos are actually a -1 from hand. Any negate, -1 from hand. Going back to their turn, if they want to remove this card, that's another -1 from hand. And sometimes, like, to remove this, you got to play a card via a skill. That's a -1 from hand, and then use a skill to remove the card. That's another -1 from hand. So basically what I'm getting at is, without Godsling in the format, this card gets a lot stronger. And it comes back to something I mentioned in a previous video, where if you want to answer big non-deflect boss monsters, now you're looking at yellow to do that. As your kind of only color that's going to be able to do that successfully, right? Which is such an interesting thing, such an interesting shakeup to the current dynamic of Dragon Ball Super. But yeah, the leader, this card, get a lot stronger. Let's finally get into some of the new cards. So we have Pan Search for Another World. We have a 1-drop 15k battle card with a 2Z energy cost. Auto limit 1, if your leader is a black Supreme Kai of Time, when a card is placed from your life in your drop by one of your leader skills, add the top card of your deck to your life. So remember that hefty cost I mentioned just a minute ago about placing your life in the drop to keep your overwhelms around? Well, this Z battle card just negates that. Just basically rejuvenate, which is insane. Like, that effect is now 100% free as long as you basically pay 1 energy to play this card. And then the other effect's also great. Activate main limit 1, bond 3, card with Xeno in its character name, which this card counts as. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the owner's warp. So you get a piece of removal. You get to basically pay 1 to keep your overwhelms around. Like, this card is just insane. Perfect for what the deck wants to do, right? Then we have Goten challenging the Dark Empire. Goten finally gets a good card, which I don't think we've seen. Like, have we ever gotten a good standalone Goten card? I can't even think of one. But anyways, we have 6-drop 25k double strike overwhelm 6. You can only overwhelm this card if your leader is a black Supreme Kai of Time. Permanent, when this card will be removed from a battle area, remove it from the game instead. And then auto, when this card is played from your hand, draw 1. Active main limit 1 for a black. If your leader is a black Supreme Kai of Time, you have 2 or more energy, and you have a Trunks Xeno in play. Play this card from your hand or warp. Okay, there's just so much going on here, right? So it serves as an overwhelm, which the deck just wants tons and tons of overwhelms. But you can also play it for 1 and have it stick around if you have a Trunks in play. There are a ton of good Trunks Xenos that we'll look at in just a second. But yeah, 1 cost or free, 25k double strike. This card just speaks for itself. It's so ridiculously good. If you play it from hand, you draw it to replace itself. If you play it from warp, that's still fine. Like, it's still a resource that doesn't pull from your hand, so that's perfectly fine and balanced. But yeah, this card itself is not balanced. This card itself is very, very good. Like, this is essentially a Gogeta thwarting the Dark Empire that doesn't remove a card, so I guess that's the only real difference. But yeah, this card is insane for the stat line and how cheap it comes out and how easy it is to get it out, because again, there are a ton of good Trunks Xenos to play in this archetype, right? So just 2 examples, but there are even more. Trunks Time Regulator, free overwhelm, draw 2, put 1 in your warp, so you can put the Goten in your warp to then just play outright. You can put Cumber SCR into your warp to play outright, and this also helps you get Awakened, because you need 8 cards in your warp to get Awakened with the leader. So insane synergy with the deck. SSG Trunks Power Awakened is a super powerful black card. This is going to help you set up more overwhelms later on. That's just another powerful Trunks that, you know, on like a turn 3, you can play this, play the Goten next to it. That's a lot of pressure. That's 2 20ks and a 25k double strike going at your opponent. That's a lot of pressure. But yeah, just 2 examples of good Trunkses you can play. There is another Trunks you can play, though, that also comes out in the Dash Pack support. Trunks challenging the Dark Empire. We have a 6-drop 19k overwhelm 6 dual attack auto. If your leader is a Supreme Kai of Time, when this card attacks, use up to 1 5k combo from your warp and a combo with its skills negated for the turn. So one interesting thing I just noticed is that this is just a vanilla 6-drop dual attack 19k overwhelm. It's kind of like a dumbed down version of Bardock Fighting Against Fate, where that was a 6-drop 25k dual attacker. So If you want a pseudo-aggressive overwhelm, this could serve as that in any deck, I guess. But obviously, the main focus is playing it in Spring Kai of Time, right? Where you get the additional auto, and then it'll swing for 24k each time, which, again, isn't quite as big as Fighting Against Fates, but it does help you get Z energy set up, which is perfect for the Panzino that we want to play on probably turn 3, maybe even turn 2, depending on how well we are able to set up our overwhelms. So, yeah, just more insane support. Overall, in my opinion, these cards we read are just absolutely incredible. This might be the best batch of support we've seen for a deck in the Zenkai Dash Pack cards. That's just my opinion. I think this stuff is super insane. I actually play tested against this deck tonight, and yeah, it puts out a lot of pressure very early on. That wormhole giving you more free plays, the leader now not really being punished for keeping those overwhelms around. This deck is not one to sleep on. I've got to test it more against you know, some of the meta matchups. Got to play more against Gogeta, more against Sin, more against Crimson. But this deck is possibly looking like it's going to put black back on the map. I don't know. But anyways, guys, of course, as always, I want in the comments below what you think about these cards. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.